That which we must say to the crowd is we worship a God, but it is the God that one adores without superstition. To you, Sovereign Grand Inspector General, we say this, that you may repeat it to the brethren of the 32nd, 31st, and 30th degrees. The Masonic religion should be, by all of us initiates of the high degrees, maintained in the purity of the Luciferian doctrine. If Lucifer were not God, would Adonai, whose deeds prove his cruelty, purify in hatred of man, barbarism and repulsion for science, would Adonai and his priests calumniate or falsely represent him being Lucifer in this case? Yes, Lucifer is God, and unfortunately Adonai is also God. For the eternal law is that there is no light without shade, no beauty without ugliness, no white without black. For the Absolute can only exist as two gods, darkness being necessary to the statue and the brake to the locomotive. Thus the doctrine of Satanism is a heresy, and the true and pure philosophical religion is the belief in Lucifer, the equal of Adonai. But Lucifer, God of light and God of good, is struggling for humanity against Adonai, the God of darkness and evil. Taken out of his book, Morals of Dogma, it's Albert Pike, the 33rd degree Freemason, the Confederate general in the Civil War, and the founder of the KKK. Now, Albert Pike was well known for being involved in forms of sex magic and blood sacrifice magic, and all this being tied to his forming of the KKK, that he wore a ring for controlling demons, much as the famous Solomon's ring that he used for such practices, which we'll get to in just a while. But truly, this Albert Pike was a monster of a man. And so, by these very, very large statements made about Freemasonry, and the heights of Freemasonry being truly the worship of Satan as Lucifer, we have to really look at things from a perspective of how much do these current high levels of Freemasonry acknowledge Albert Pike as somebody who speaks the truth, as not just some crazy crackpot that lived 150 years ago. And so that's what we're going to look into next, is just the validation that Albert Pike, making these claims, is someone that we should believe, that we should listen to, and move forward on what he has said. So now let us look into that. Due to his involvement in actions in the Civil War, Albert Pike was tried for treason and sentenced to life in prison under Abraham Lincoln's administration. Shortly later, however, Lincoln was assassinated, and his successor, Andrew Johnson, immediately pardoned Albert Pike and erected the statue of him in Washington, D.C. Here we have the House of the Temple. It is just over 100 years old. It lies in the heart of Washington, D.C., and it is known as the capital of Freemasonry, specifically Scottish Rite Freemasonry, which, by my understanding, is the oldest order of Freemasonry. And it is just chock full of evidence hiding in plain sight. So let's just take a short tour. Here we have what is known as the Grand Entrance Staircase, and the first man that is shown to you here, this statue in the capital of Freemasonry, shown to you as a representation of the first Mason you see as you walk in, is none other than Albert Pike. Next we have what is known as the Pillars of Charity. You'll see these double pillars a lot in Freemasonry, as passing through them is symbolic of knowledge and understanding, illumination as it is. You can see in the background there you have small fallen angel wings with the sun rays descending over the house of the temple. And then on the right here is once again Albert Pike. Here we will make our last stop concerning Albert Pike in the Albert Pike Memorial Library, where you can find his book Morals of Dogma, from which we quoted that the highest degrees of Masons knowingly worship Satan as his former form of Lucifer and refer to him as the Lord of Light, being the true God over the true Christian God Adonai, which they refer to as the God of darkness and evil. You can see the Mark of the Beast triangle there on the right underneath his picture, and I believe that this is sufficient evidence that Masons do truly revere and exalt Albert Pike as a Mason among Masons. Our final stop then in the House of the Temple is the Grand Ritual Room. You can see to the right above the throne the fallen angel wings, and then above that the sun's rays. To the left again the fallen angel wings, and on both sides you have the double pillars which we covered as passing through them being a signs of knowledge and illumination. In the middle of the room you will find an old Canaanite sacrifice altar, and directly above that you will find a skylight, and you can see that on all four sides you have the fallen angel symbol, and this is actually referred to as the seat of Satan. So there you have it. That's a short tour of the House of the Temple, the capital of Freemasonry, and a little bit of insight as to the true what Freemasonry is all about. It's plain and simple. People will argue and defend it all day long, but it's right out in plain sight for anyone that has eyes to see and ears to hear and wants to pull their head out of the sand and look. It's right there.